Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Imagine someone thinking about a very bad time in their life. This person was young, about 22 years old. They used drugs often. One night something happened. A person gave them and their friend the wrong bag of drugs. They got much more than they paid for. They went to a cheap hotel and used all the drugs. It was not fun anymore. Using drugs was just a way for them to run away from their life. They did not want to feel their real feelings. They knew that using drugs was not making them happy. It felt like they were hitting their head against a wall. Nothing good was happening. They felt like they were moving towards death. A few months later, this person stopped using drugs for the first time in many years. It was very hard. They could see their life more clearly. They understood they had a big choice. They could continue using drugs and maybe die, or they could find a new way to live. At first, they did not want to choose life. Life without drugs seemed empty. What would they do? But then they had an idea. Maybe addiction was a problem in the brain. Maybe it was like a sickness that science could fix. This person decided to study the brain. They wanted to understand addiction. Maybe they could help find a cure. It took this person many years to finish school and learn about the brain. This book shares what this person learned about addiction and the brain. Addiction is a very big problem today. Many people or people they know struggle with using drugs too much. It causes much sadness and loss. It costs a lot of money for health care and help. But even with effort, it is still very hard for people to stop using drugs and stay stopped. Why is it so hard? One big reason is that the brain changes when people use drugs again and again. Drugs change how the brain works. These changes make people want the drug very strongly. It makes it hard to choose not to use. This book will explore how drugs affect the brain. We will look at the science. We will also look at what addiction feels like. Understanding the brain can help us understand why addiction is so powerful. It can help us understand people who are struggling. It is important to know that the brain can adapt. It learns from drug use. But this learning makes the problem worse over time. There is no easy pill to fix addiction. Important. This book gives information about the brain and addiction. It is not medical advice. If you need help with addiction, please talk to a doctor or a health expert. And now, let's try to understand it. 2. How the brain works. Your brain is amazing. It helps you understand the world around you. You use your brain to sense things like sights and sounds, and it helps you react to them. When you see a fast car coming, your brain helps you move away quickly. The brain takes signals from outside, like light or sound, and changes them into its own language. This language uses tiny electric messages and special chemicals. This is how your brain processes information from your senses. Your brain works hard to keep things steady inside your body. This job is called homeostasis. It's like keeping your body temperature stable, around 37 degrees Celsius. If you get too hot, your brain makes you sweat. If you get too cold, you shiver. Your brain keeps your feelings stable too, trying to keep you in a neutral state most of the time. This stability is important. It helps your brain notice when something different or important happens. The brain is very good at detecting contrast or change. Drugs disrupt this stable state. They change the brain's normal chemical balance. This makes it hard for the brain to keep things steady. Many years ago, scientists studied rats' brains. They found a special part, a reward center. When this part was stimulated with a small electric current, the rats seemed to feel great pleasure. They wanted to repeat the feeling. They pressed a bar again and again to get the stimulation, sometimes even choosing it over food. A brain chemical called dopamine is key to this reward center. When you experience something enjoyable, like eating food you love, your brain releases dopamine in this area. This makes you feel good. But dopamine isn't just about feeling pleasure. It's also about wanting and motivation. It signals that something important or surprising is happening or about to happen. It makes you pay attention and want to get the reward. All addictive drugs have one big thing in common. They cause a large, fast increase of dopamine in this specific reward area of the brain. This dopamine flood is much bigger than what happens with natural rewards like food. This intense effect feels very good at first and strongly teaches the brain to want the drug again. The brain quickly learns to associate the drug with this powerful feeling, this big change from normal. This is a key reason why addiction can start. 3. Why drugs stop working. Your brain is always changing. It learns from everything you experience. When you use drugs often, your brain learns and changes because of the drug. It adapts to the drug being there. The brain tries hard to keep everything inside balanced and stable. Drugs upset this balance. They create strong feelings, like feeling very happy or very relaxed. The brain notices this big change from normal. It works to bring things back to the middle, back to stable. To do this, the brain creates feelings that are the opposite of the drug's effects. For example, if a drug makes you feel very happy, the brain creates some sad feelings to fight it. If a drug makes you feel relaxed, the brain creates worried feelings to balance it out. This is the brain's way of fighting the drug's effect. When you use a drug again and again, the brain gets better and faster at creating this opposite feeling. The opposite feeling becomes stronger and lasts longer. Because the brain is fighting the drug so strongly, the drug does not work as well as it did at first. You do not feel the same good effects. You need to use more of the drug just to feel the same way you did in the beginning. This is called tolerance. Needing more drug to get the same feeling is a sign of tolerance. Also, the brain's opposite feeling often lasts longer than the drug's good feeling. When the drug wears off, the opposite feeling is still there. This makes you feel bad. These bad feelings are called withdrawal. If the drug made you feel calm, withdrawal makes you feel anxious. If the drug stopped pain, withdrawal makes you feel pain. Withdrawal symptoms are always the opposite of the drug's main effects. When tolerance and withdrawal happen, it means you are dependent on the drug. Your brain now needs the drug just to feel normal, not even to feel good. Craving is part of dependence. Craving is a very, very strong wish to use the drug. It is very hard to ignore. You feel craving strongly during withdrawal, but it can happen at other times too. The brain also learns to expect the drug. It remembers the things that usually happen before you use the drug. These can be people you use drugs with, places where you use drugs, or even things like needles or certain music. These things are called cues. When you see these cues, your brain thinks the drug is coming. It starts making the opposite feeling even before you take the drug. This makes you feel bad and causes a very strong craving. This can happen even years after you stop using. These cues make it very difficult to stay away from the drug. 4. Cannabis, a special plant. Many people have strong feelings about cannabis, also called marijuana or weed. For some, it feels like a special plant. The main chemical in cannabis that changes how you feel is called THC. When someone uses cannabis, THC goes into the brain. Scientists discovered how THC works. It attaches to special places on brain cells called CB1 receptors. These receptors are like locks, and THC is like a key that fits into them. What surprised scientists was finding these CB1 receptors almost everywhere in the brain. They are on many brain cells. This means THC can affect lots of different brain activities. The brain actually makes its own chemicals that are like THC. These are called endocannabinoids. One important endocannabinoid is called anandamide. These natural chemicals have a job. They help the brain notice important things. They can make normal experiences feel more special or meaningful. For example, they might make food taste better when you are hungry or help you enjoy time with friends. THC copies what these natural chemicals do, but it does it much more strongly. When THC attaches to the CB1 receptors, it makes many everyday things seem more interesting or intense. Music might sound amazing, food might taste delicious, and funny things might seem very funny. For some people, this makes cannabis feel good, especially if life seems boring. But using cannabis often has downsides. The brain is always trying to keep things balanced. When THC keeps activating the CB1 receptors, the brain adapts. It reduces the number of CB1 receptors. This is called downregulation. It's like the brain turns down the volume because the signal THC is too loud. This downregulation causes problems. With fewer receptors, the brain becomes less sensitive not just to THC, but also to its own natural endocannabinoids. As a result, when someone is not using cannabis, everyday life can feel dull or uninteresting. Things that used to be enjoyable might not seem fun anymore. This change can make it hard for people to feel motivated. They might have trouble starting tasks or finding joy in normal activities. This lack of motivation is sometimes called amotivational syndrome. Because life feels less interesting without the drug, and the brain has adapted to its presence, quitting cannabis can be difficult. People might feel bored, sad, or restless without it. They might crave the feeling cannabis gives them, even if they know it causes problems. Understanding how cannabis changes the brain helps explain why it can be hard to stop using it regularly. 5 drugs for pain, opiates. Some drugs used for pain are called opiates. Heroin is an opiate. Some strong painkiller pills from the doctor are also opiates. Many people feel very good when they first use opiates. These drugs can make people feel safe and happy. They stop pain very well. This makes people want to use them again. Opiates work because they are like chemicals the body already makes. Your body has its own natural painkillers. These are called endorphins. Endorphins help you feel less pain when you are hurt or stressed. Opiates copy these natural endorphins. They attach to the same places in the brain. but the brain does not like this change. It tries to go back to normal. When opiates make you feel good and stop pain, the brain fights back. It makes its own chemicals that do the opposite. These anti-opiates can make you feel more pain and sadness. This is the brain trying to keep things balanced. When someone uses opiates often, their brain gets very good at fighting the drug. The person needs to take more and more of the drug just to feel normal or to get the good feeling. This is called tolerance. Sometimes people need to take amounts that would be very dangerous for someone who has never used the drug before. If someone uses opiates regularly and then stops, they feel very sick. This is called withdrawal. Withdrawal from opiates is very hard. People feel a lot of pain, they feel sick to their stomach, they cannot sleep, and they feel very sad and worried. These feelings are the opposite of the drug's effects. They happen because the brain's anti-opiate system is working strongly, even without the drug. Quitting opiates is very difficult. The withdrawal feels terrible. Also, the person feels a very strong need or craving for the drug. This craving can last for a long time. Certain things can make the craving come back very strongly. Seeing places where they used the drug or people they used with can trigger the craving. Even seeing things like spoons or needles can make them want the drug again. Because quitting is so hard, there are special treatments to help people. Medicines like methadone and Suboxone can help. These drugs stop the withdrawal sickness. They can also reduce the craving. They work on the same parts of the brain as opiates, but in a different way. These medicines help people stop using illegal opiates like heroin. They give people a chance to make changes in their lives. 6. Drugs that calm, alcohol and pills. Alcohol is a very common drug around the world. People drink it at parties, with meals, and at celebrations. It is accepted in many societies. An old writer once said that people in America drink when they meet, when they leave, when they make friends, and when they make a deal. This is still true today. People drink beer, wine, or stronger drinks like vodka or whiskey. Alcohol changes how the brain works. It affects brain chemicals like GABA. GABA slows the brain down. This is why alcohol makes people feel relaxed. Alcohol also affects glutamate, another important brain chemical. This action slows the brain even more. Alcohol can also make the brain release natural painkillers called endorphins. This can make drinking feel good. Because alcohol slows the brain, small amounts help people relax. But it also affects thinking and movement. Too much alcohol makes it hard to think clearly. People may make bad decisions or say things they regret. It also makes it difficult to walk straight or talk properly. Alcohol affects memory too. Some people cannot remember what happened when they were very drunk. Drinking a lot of alcohol is dangerous for health. Heavy drinking can damage the liver, heart, and other body parts over time. Drinking a large amount of alcohol in a short time is called binge drinking. This is very risky. It can lead to accidents, injuries, and poor choices. It is especially dangerous for young people because their brains are still developing. Other drugs also calm the brain. These are often pills that doctors prescribe. Long ago, some pills like Miltown were called Mother's Little Helper. Other types are barbiturates and benzodiazepines. Valium is a famous benzodiazepine. These pills work like alcohol. They affect the GABA chemical in the brain, slowing it down. Doctors give these pills to people who have problems with anxiety or sleep. They help people feel calm or fall asleep. Barbiturates were used a lot in the past, but they were dangerous because taking too many could easily cause death. Benzodiazepines like Valium became more popular because they are safer if someone takes too much. However, both barbiturates and benzodiazepines are very addictive, just like alcohol. People start needing more pills to get the same calming effect. This is tolerance. If someone uses these pills regularly and then stops suddenly, they get very sick. This withdrawal is difficult and feels like alcohol withdrawal. People feel anxious, cannot sleep, and may shake. It is very hard to stop using these pills once addiction starts. 7. Drugs that excite, stimulants. Some drugs make people feel more awake and full of energy. These are called stimulants. The most popular stimulant in the world is caffeine, found in coffee, tea, and some soft drinks. Nicotine in tobacco is another very common stimulant. Other strong stimulants include cocaine, amphetamines like meth or speed, and MDMA, also called ecstasy. All these drugs make your brain and body work faster. People use them to feel more alert, focused, and energetic. Stimulants change how chemicals work in your brain. Many strong stimulants, like cocaine and amphetamines, stop the brain from cleaning up chemicals like dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. These chemicals usually send messages between brain cells. When stimulants block their cleanup, the chemicals stay active longer. This makes you feel more awake and happy for a short time. Caffeine works differently. It blocks a chemical called adenosine, which normally makes you feel sleepy. Nicotine is the addictive drug in tobacco, cigarettes, and e-cigarettes. It works differently from cocaine or amphetamines. Nicotine attaches to special parts of brain cells called acetylcholine receptors. This quickly makes you feel more alert, but your brain gets used to nicotine very fast. This is called tolerance. The first cigarette of the day often feels the best. Later, you need to smoke more often just to feel normal and avoid feeling bad. Cocaine and amphetamines give users a powerful feeling of energy, confidence, and happiness, euphoria. People may snort, smoke, or inject these drugs. Cocaine's effects happen fast but usually last only a short time, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. Amphetamines, like meth, have effects that last much longer, for several hours. Some amphetamines are used as medicine for conditions like ADHD, but they can still be addictive if not used correctly. Using strong stimulants carries big risks. They make your heart beat faster and can cause serious heart problems or strokes. Stimulants like cocaine, meth, and MDMA can also cause severe mental problems. Users might feel very anxious or paranoid, feeling that others want to harm them. They might see or hear things that are not real, psychosis. Meth and MDMA are especially known to damage brain cells, particularly those using serotonin and dopamine. This damage might be permanent. MDMA can make people feel close to others, but it can harm the serotonin system in the long term. It is very difficult to stop using stimulants once addicted. When people stop, they often feel extremely tired, depressed, and have strong urges called cravings to use the drug again. The brain changes with regular stimulant use. It adapts to the drug being there. These brain adaptations mean the person needs the drug to feel normal, and stopping causes unpleasant withdrawal feelings and powerful cravings that make quitting hard. 8. Why people get addicted and the end. Why do some people use drugs and stop, while others cannot stop and become addicted? It is a difficult question. Part of the answer is in our bodies from birth. Some people have a higher risk because of their family history, like they inherit eye color. Many small differences in the body, not just one big one, can make addiction more likely. But having this risk does not mean someone will definitely become addicted. What happens in life is also very important. Living with a lot of stress makes it harder. Having very bad experiences like trauma increases the risk. Not having good chances in life, like a good job or education, can also make people more likely to turn to drugs. When someone starts using drugs matters a lot. Starting drugs when very young, especially as a teenager, is much riskier than starting as an adult. The brain is still growing and changing quickly during these years. Drugs can harm this growth. Early drug use can change the brain in ways that make addiction much more likely later in life. Addiction is not just a bad choice or a weak person. It happens because the brain changes when a person uses drugs regularly. The brain learns to live with the drug. It tries to keep things balanced like it always does. This is called adaptation. But strong drugs push the brain too hard. The changes the brain makes to handle the drug become the problem. These changes cause strong cravings and make it very hard to stop using. It is like the brain's normal learning process goes wrong because of the drugs. Because addiction involves these deep changes in the brain, finding one simple cure is very difficult. There is not just one pill that can fix addiction easily. The brain is very good at adapting, which makes addiction strong. But this also means the brain can heal. It takes time, effort, and the right kind of help. Getting better from addiction is possible. Feeling connected to other people is very important for recovery. Help from family, friends, doctors, or support groups makes a big difference. Having good things in life, like a job, school, or hobbies, gives people positive things to focus on. People need alternatives to drug use and support to choose them. Learning about the brain and addiction helps us understand people who struggle. It shows us that addiction is a complex health problem, not just a bad habit. It is more helpful to understand why it happens than to blame someone for being addicted. Do you think understanding the brain science behind addiction helps people struggling with it, and why?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.